He has a neck.
Neck.
He has a neck. Wasn't, again, all of those guys were not able to practice yesterday, so you just don't know right now what you're going to have. And already with guys like Ricardo Dixon and Ernie Tabatu and some of your depth guys that are already out, it just doesn't leave you a lot of depth. We went to go do Pascal yesterday, and we don't have enough numbers in the secondary right now to be able to practice against each other. So making it a little bit more difficult, and hopefully with some of the treatment and everything, those guys will be able to be back and we can be at full strength. But if not, we've got to load up with what we have. Kayvon Webster will be back. Q Washington is healthy, and you still have 3 safeties that have played a lot of football for you, and Jarrell Young and John Legist and Mark Joyce. So hopefully we can still put a product out on the field with those starting guys that are still there, but it would be nice to have a little depth in this football game going into it.
Skip, you had talked back in August about the experience that you and Mark both have up against Holgerson offenses from the Houston days. When you see the offense he's running now, does that help? Is there relevance to that at all?
Not really, because it's not so much different. It's just what he emphasizes. Excuse me. He emphasizes much more the passing game. It's not like their defense with what they do in the 3-3 stack is completely different. We saw a lot of the routes last week we're going to see this week. We're just going to see them a lot faster. They're just going to come at us a lot quicker than they did last week. I think there's only so many ways to drop back and protect a quarterback and throw the ball. But the thing that makes them explosive is the speed they have at wide receiver, the explosiveness they have at wide receiver, and the patience they have right now and experience they have with Geno Smith and the way he's throwing the ball. They are very good at what they do. As Dan has been, that's the thing that he emphasizes. That's what they practice on, and they're very productive at it.
Skip, can you talk about what you discussed with Bobby after the game, going over the film with just the areas of emphasis that he needs to get better in case he's called upon again Thursday?
Well, like I said, I thought Bobby did a nice job in going in there. We did not ask him. We didn't put the whole saddle on him and put everything on his shoulders and say just lead us. When we tried to throw it there a little bit there at the end in the fourth quarter, when we got behind, we weren't able to get it done with the turnover, and then coming up short with the clock, just trying to move the 2-minute drive down the field. But I thought outside of that, he really did. Thought he did a nice job. There's a couple times that he could have got rid of the ball a little bit earlier and seen his reads a little bit quicker. But for the most part, I was really pleased with the way Bobby played, with the way he went in there, and I thought he threw it pretty accurately. It's just the mental aspect and having it happen at game speed and making decisions a little bit quicker, the things we need to continue to work on with him. And those things will come. He's just, right now, he's young.
Skip, the punting had gotten to the point Friday where you tried Benani with the rugby kick, but then the re-kick had gone back to Brockus. Do you know, was that just a novelty, or is that something that's in play for this week as well?
No, it's something that's in play, but once we did it the first time, there's ways to defend it, and we haven't worked as hard on that, although when you look at the results on it, it's definitely something we need to do more of. We did it again last night, and he hit the offense in the back of the shoulder. So it's something that we certainly haven't perfected. But at that point, I'm just getting so frustrated with the depth of our punts. We had a 17-yard punt, I think it was the punt before then, and you're trying to play a young quarterback, young receivers, and new defensive backs, and you're trying to play a field position game. It's very difficult if every time you punt, you're going to punt the ball somewhere between 20 to 30 yards. And so that's why I said, well, it can't get any worse. I mean, let's go ahead and give him a shot. I thought he did a nice job. And the very next punt, I think Brockhouse hit the longest punt he's had in about 5 games, the one after that one. So it's something that we are definitely continuing to look at, and what are our options. And as I said earlier, if we're not getting it done, how do we find a way to get it done? We can't just stay status quo and say we're not punting it far enough, so we lose a game. We got to find what are our options, what are our alternatives. That's another one of the reasons that, all of a sudden you start going for it a little bit more on 4th down if you're not going to get the field position change that you're looking for.
Where are you with Shaw and Boyd this week?
With who?
Shaw and Boyd.
Marcus Shaw will be eligible to play this week. Marcus Shaw will be able to play. Spencer Boyd will not. But Marcus Shaw will be eligible to play. How much he plays at this point, I don't know, with 2 healthy running backs that have carried the bulk of the load. But he certainly could be an added addition to our special teams that desperately need some depth right now.
You mentioned unfortunate turnover by true freshman Andre Davis. Saw you after the game, post game, you were hugging him, consoling him. Can you share what you might have said to him?
Well, and I got on him a little bit, you know, I got on him a little bit right after the game about mistakes and how important it is to protect the ball if we want to win. But I was just grabbing him after the game just to talk to him about my expectations for him. Even though he's a true freshman, I think he has a chance to be special. I think he has a chance not to be good, but I think he has a chance to be great. And I told him just because he's a freshman, I'm not going to lower the standard or accept mediocrity or accept some of the mistakes that are going to cost us down the road. And I want him to understand that my standard for him is high, but I also am not giving up on him, or I'm certainly not willing to throw in the towel. These are lessons learned that hopefully are going to make him a better player down the road. But I think he has a chance to be a really special wide receiver, and it's been nice that he's been able to get some of the experience that he has, not just since we've had injuries to Love, Terrence Mitchell, and Sterling Griffin, but even that we were able to get him a little bit of work early in the season. I don't know how many catches he has right now, but every rep he has is an investment in the future.
Coach, at this stage in the season, what frustrates you most?
How we've gotten to where we are is my biggest frustration right now with this football team. Not with the football team, but with what has happened to get us to here. We have been good enough to win almost every game that we've been in. As we sat here through 9 games, and I said we were 3 plays away from sitting here 8-1 or 9-1 and being a top 10 team in the country. We're that close, and that's what's so frustrating about it. And now as we're going down the stretch to see so many of the injuries hitting us and having to put in younger guys or less experienced players is probably frustrating because of how close we've been. And this is the comment, if some things could come our way this year, if the ball could bounce our way this year, we have a chance to be a really good football team this year. I said, but I'm really encouraged by what returns. Because when you look at it, you're going to lose really 2 returning starters on offense. You're going to lose a center and a guard, but every quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver that has played a significant role in this football season all returns for next year. Same is true in the secondary. I mean, you're going to lose 2 guys in the secondary when you start looking at Jarrell Young and Q Washington, but the experience of a George Baker and a Jenkins and a Kayvon Webster, a lot of these, a Mark Joyce and a John Legister receiving, makes you feel really good about the future. So as frustrating it's been because we've been that close and had the ball bounced our way a couple of times, and I believe you make a break, so it's certainly not luck. I mean, you got to make the field goal at Rutgers, you got to protect the ball, you can't drop a punt. Some of the mishaps that we've had that I keep talking about, that's been my frustration, is I feel like we have given away more football games than we've lost. And that is why I say I take that on my shoulders as a football coach, and that's our job to get them to understand what it takes to be a winning football team.
You guys talked about the elephant in the room, the bowl eligibility. Mm-hmm. West Virginia, as you know, is going for the Big East title, and maybe a BCS bid is spoiling their ambitions and motivating factor for your guys?
No, not near as motivating as being able to do it yourself. I mean, playing the role of spoiler is going to last, I mean, the hour after the game, you know, I mean, and then that's over. The benefits of going to a bowl game are going to be long felt on this football team. We talked about the number of youth and guys returning, having an extra spring practice and bowl practice to get ready for the young guys to get ready for the future, and also to send these seniors out the right way, because it's not, their contribution is not just measured in terms of what they've done this year, but what they've done over their 4 or 5 years here to help build this program. And this is I've said this all season, we are a work in progress, not just as a football team with this season, but as a program and what we're trying to build and how we're trying to get there. Right now, we don't have the type of depth that we need. I've talked since the time we went to camp that our biggest Achilles heel on this football team is the lack of depth that we have, and that's something that we've worked hard at this year to try and develop. Unfortunately, we just haven't been able to get it done, but the frustration has been how close we are and just not being able to get over that hump and having leads late in the game or even losing on the last play of the game.
Obviously, this game being on Thursday night, it's there for a reason. This was anticipated to be maybe a chance for for you to win a league title? And is the fact that you have a national TV showcase, you can show what you can do one last time, a motivator for you and the guys too?
Well, it certainly weighs into it. I think the biggest thing right now, the biggest motivation tool for this game is to gain bowl eligibility, with this being our last opportunity. But having a national television audience, having the opportunity to play arguably one of the best teams in this league, certainly one of the most explosive teams in this league, is a great opportunity for us to finish this season the right way. That's why I'm really encouraged to get out to practice, find out who's ready to play, and start to put it together as we can formulate our game plan. But I think the players are excited to play this football game.
With a bowl game, or bowl practices, I mean, everything it brings being so important, and you guys being so close for the last month, do you see a sense of urgency right now with the players different from maybe the weeks past?
No, I mean, I guess we'll find that a little bit more as we get closer to game day, the sense of urgency for it. But I don't see a sense of desperation, you know what I mean? Like, I think for the seniors probably I do a little bit more, because they're getting that close to the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, all of a sudden where this is the end. The reality, I can put on football pads for the last time on Thursday. I mean, all of a sudden that starts to become a reality, and I don't know that that was really something they were thinking about as we went through the course of the season. But I think those things are starting to press a little bit more, which is going to cause it without a doubt with the seniors. But I don't feel that sense of just desperation amongst the whole football team. But I certainly know that there's a group of seniors that are really starting to say, you know what, this is one we want. We want to have the opportunity to go to a bowl game as a senior class.
Skip, would you talk about that class? I mean, granted, you've only been here for 2 years, and a lot of these guys, you know, they get to the fifth, and even A.J. Love's case, the sixth year.
Yes. Well,
and they all have great backstories, but just kind of address the class as a whole.
Well, and you could talk about each one of them and sit here and talk about A.J. Love and what he's been through and the type of player he was a year ago when he got injured with the knee. And then to see his season go through, which is probably just as frustrating for him, to come back from his knee and work so hard only to have an ankle and miss another 3 weeks, and then to come back with a stress fracture in his lower leg. And as great of a football player was, he's almost been a shell of himself because of all the injuries that he's had to go through. You could tell a story on Chaz Hine, you could tell one on Jeremiah Warren and Keith McCaskill and what he brings to the table each and every week, and the success story of a Patrick Hampton and guys like Jarrell Young and Q Washington that are captains of this football team. You could go through a lot of guys on this football team and tell their individual stories. The thing that probably is unfortunate in their case, it's a very small class. And it's a class, when you look out there at the guys that are playing, you don't have the 12 and 13 seniors, you know, where what you do in most of your better football teams that has a lot of upperclassmen. You don't have that with this group, and I'm sure that's part of the frustration as well. But it's a great group of young men. As I've said before, I have great respect for them for the way that they have helped lead this football team. It's easy to lead when you're winning. It's easy to lead when those 4 plays go your direction and you're 9-1 and you're top 10 in the country. Everybody's willing to lead at that point. But who wants to lead when everybody kind of gives up on you, when everybody throws their arms up, you know, when people don't believe in you and you haven't been able to get it done? That's when the real leadership starts to come through, and that's where I have such great respect for the character of guys like Keith McCaskill and Chaz Hine and so many of those guys that we just talked about, for what they've had to endure and what they've had to go through, because it has not been easy to lose games on the last play of the game when you work so hard and put your heart, your soul, and your effort and just everything into it, and you come up short and you kind of roll your sleeves up and you got to go do it again. You got to go do it again next week. And each and every week this football team has showed up to play, and that's why I have such great respect for this senior class.
Skip, with Victor having another mistake in the punt return game this past week, do you continue to send him back there, or is this Evan's job now?
No, at this point I want to secure the ball. At this point I want to secure the ball. There have been a number of other people that have caught it in practice. We've talked about Andre Davis and Deontay Welch and some of those guys. Derek Hopkins has been back there catching them. But the guy that is still the most consistent, who with the ball under his arm, or the guy who secures the ball, is Evan Landy. And I've even gotten back to where on the 10-yard line decisions, when we were having to make 10-yard line decisions, heels on the 10, Evan's been the guy that's gone in and done that for us. And so right now I would I would be hesitant to put anybody else back there that may risk putting the ball on the ground. The biggest thing that I want is to make sure that we can secure it. And it's a shame because right now with some of the young quarterback and receivers and some of that, we could really utilize the field position of having a dangerous punt returner right now. I just don't feel like we have one that we can put out there that can catch the ball consistently enough and move us forward.